Welcome to the Brown County Hour.
Coming to you from the legendary Hills of Brown,
where the plum purple haze,
the one nature herself drapes over the hills and hollers,
inspires local characters, artists, and nature lovers.
It's as though the hills themselves conspire to create a beauty and culture in the heart of Indiana.
Sit for a spell and hear the music.
Tall tales,
true stories,
and current goings-on.
Brought to you by folks who still know how to sit by a fire in winter
and swim buck naked in summer. Welcome to episode 85 of the Brown County Hour. This is Dave Seastrom.
And Vera Grubbs, along with the rest of the crew. Our musical guest this month is Kenan Rainwater. We'll listen to his interview and 3 live tunes he recorded in our studio. We also have the latest edition of Carrie Ray on the Road, and Dave Seastrom shares a few thoughts about donating to WFHB.
Herbalist Susan Clearwater shares a few recommendations about herpes. We'll listen to Dr. Laurie Godfree and Bethany Drew discuss the latest Brown County High School production of Footloose. And Jim Eagleman weighs in on the Brown County Mountain Lion.
The show begins with our Kenan Rainwater interview. In her latest On the Road segment, Carrie Ray has a story about manatees. And we'll close with Kenan Rainwater's tune, Rocket to the Sun.
It's my pleasure to introduce Kenan Rainwater and Barry Elkins, who have just treated us to a wonderful live performance here in our studio this evening. Kenan, you are such a one-man band. I'll tell you, just turn him loose in front of a mic and you get all the recording you want.
Au contraire, Dave.
Au contraire?
I feel like my musical history has been one that is much more social than that. I'm not one to sit alone and play instruments very much. I started jamming with Pat Clark and Mike Nichols and Pickard and Bilger down there in Smithville, and we'd sit around in a circle and play, and we did that once a week for 10 years before I ever played out, and I just don't enjoy it much when I don't have company, and that's why Barry Elkins here is such a solid find for the evening.
Well, you guys sounded great tonight.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Barry makes a feller sound good. See, all I do is play the guitar and sing a song, and Barry makes it sound good, and that helps a lot.
Kenan, I think our first topic is the stream from the Rainwater Studios.
Yes, the stream, which happens on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 Central. I just learned today there are other time codes other than Brown County, Indiana.
Hard to believe.
What we do is we feature songwriters and musicians, just people that are talented and that write songs. We have a bit of a house band that includes Barry Elkins, Derek Day on the bass, and he helps me with sound, and Nolan Eastwood on the drums. But what we like to do is bring in a gifted songwriter and put them in front of a microphone, playing their own songs, solo, and with one lead player, and then with a full band of drums and bass and lead players. And we air that live to a worldwide audience, or however many people are tuning in, because it's on the internet. And this is a very new thing for all of us, to be able to feature music and art and ideas and whatever we want to put out there to the world. We can do that from our own homes now, strangely enough. We have a fiber optic internet connection over at Rainwater Studios, and that opened up this door to technology where we assembled audio interfaces and video interfaces, and now we can have people come in there and we record them live, and that live recording is disseminated to anyone that wants to tune into Rainwater Studios at 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights. What we're doing down there is fairly unprecedented in history. people haven't really done this before, especially hillbillies like us.
Yeah. Well, we had a little discussion about this before you all started playing tonight, and I did get a chance to see the very first one. And as I said, it kind of looked like your mom was running around the room with her cell phone recording the whole thing, and now the polish is evident.
Well, the polish is, we haven't yet begun to polish, my man. What we did was we graduated from, I don't know if it was a cell phone video the first time, it may have been. Then I had what's called a Zoom Q8, doing the audio and the video. From there, we graduated using Wirecast technology, which is a software that lets you do live switching. And we incorporated iPhones, so now all of our phones have become cameras. And from there, we're progressing into dedicated cameras with high-quality lenses and imaging hardware inside them. The progression is as fast as the money can come in to buy new technology and as fast as our learning curve can keep up with it.
All right, Kenan, for the rest of us, how do we get to this broadcast? Do we go to your Facebook page? Do you have a website? What is it?
What we do is we go to Facebook, we type in Rainwater Studios with an S, and you'll find our studio right there, and that's where we go live. We also have a YouTube channel under Rainwater Studios, and for a moment we jumped over there and we were doing live streaming to YouTube, but the fact is that people just aren't there hanging out looking for entertainment. So we jumped back to Facebook, and that's where we do our live feeds. We are reserving our YouTube space and our YouTube channel for post-production things, where we've edited, we've enhanced the audio, we've enhanced the video, we sync them together, and we put them up on YouTube because it's indexable and searchable. And honestly, Facebook is a real competitor. They're getting more indexable and searchable. And so you can find us at Rainwater Studios on Facebook and Rainwater Studios on YouTube.
What's up with Split Rail?
Split Rail is a great bunch of guys out of Morgan County. When I joined up with the band, I was the 5th member of a 5-piece band, and they had already debuted the Split Rail 101 album. It was back in 2012, 2013. I had done a guest performance on one song on that album. That song was King of the Honky Tonks, and I sang a verse and a chorus. And we were familiar with each other because they were familiar with the Indiana Boys, the first band I was ever a part of. And I started hanging out with Ryan Dyer, who's the lead player and kind of the manager for Split Rail. And he was playing lead for me in a band I'd started called Rainwater, and we just got to chatting about like the best way to progress forward. And one thing led to another, and he said, well, why don't you become the 5th member of Split Rail? I said, well, that sounds great, because I'd hate to be responsible for anything but making Split Rail better, because I loved what they were doing. And so when I joined that band, we started working, and things were going great. And we opened for Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band on Black Friday at the Vogue. Immediately, like the day after that, coming off the high of that show, the bass player let us know that he was going to be leaving the band. So that was like the highs and lows of show business, right? Since then, we've incorporated Brandon Clem as a bass player, and he's learning backing vocals, and he's a fine bass player. And we're getting ready to record the sophomore album for Split Rail that will be a 5-piece, it's a crazy story of a band because there's 2 lead singers. And not many bands in history have had 2 lead singers with the desire to split the vocals 50-50. When Caleb Baker sings, I sing backup, and I play what I call a secondary lead instrument. And when I sing, Caleb sings backup, and he plays some lead guitar or mandolin, like a secondary lead instrument, while Ryan Dyer plays the primary lead instrument. I just see all kinds of potential for collaborations with Split Rail. We're going to make this album. We've got 10 songs slated for recording as soon as we can do it. And right there in Rainwater Studio, we're recording the demos, and we hope to record the real thing once we get the rough drafts done.
When is your next gig?
We're going to open for Travis Tritt at the Morgan County Fairgrounds July 26th. Oh, there's Split Rail and Big Country right before Travis Tritt plays. It was pretty amazing.
Thank you so much for telling us about this. I'm really excited for more of these productions.
Yeah, right on. Me too. It's mind-boggling in a wonderful kind of way.
Ray here, coming to you from the road. An acquaintance of mine, David Schrichty, is a freelance wildlife photographer who specializes in manatee photos. We met briefly a couple of years back on a trip through Crystal River, Florida, and I've enjoyed following his pics and videos ever since. The photos I'll share with this piece are not nearly as stunning as his. In fact, they're not even on par with my usual share. But in this case, I was too busy having the experience to worry about capturing it beautifully. Shoot, if it weren't for the fact that my camera was already in hand, I likely wouldn't have captured it at all and have a story with no visuals. Key to this adventure is a pair of inflatable paddleboards we recently acquired. I had been wanting one for a couple of years to make it easier to get on the water, and more importantly to the fish, at home and on the road, where my trusty kayak is impractical to have on hand. The investment necessary to secure one, stable enough for me to fly cast from, was hefty, so for all the wanting, I had been reluctant to pull the trigger. But a chance exchange, if you believe in that sort of thing, with the staff at a local kayak rental shop had me staring up at one that just might work, and for about half the price. You see, the establishment once rented and sold, and still had a few new old stock items lying around that they were just itching to be shed of. The trade-off? Not rigged for fishing, and anything but stealthy in nearly glowing bright yellow, green, and orange. Did I mention that it was nearly half off? Perhaps it's the influence of my mother that makes me nearly giddy in the face of an undeniable bargain. If you ever have the chance to meet her, try this. Tell her you like her blouse, shoes, purse, anything like that. My money says she will bypass the customary, "Why, thank you," to tell you with a gleam of mischief in her bright eyes at which thrift store she found it, exactly how little she paid for it because she was there when everything pink was marked down, and how it was also senior day, which gave her an additional half off the already ridiculously low pink price. Whether propelled by nature or nurture, the bargain was bait enough for me, and the deal was done. This past Saturday, although the weather called for overcast skies and a chance of rain, was set to be the first in over a week that was warm enough to be comfortable out on a paddleboard. So we inflated them, loaded them into the carry van, one of our prerequisites was that they would fit, and headed over to Hunter Springs Park. The springs that feed into the Kings Bay area of Crystal River, while not as famed nor densely populated as Three Sister Springs, are also a favorite thermoregulatory hangout for Florida manatees in the colder months. Cold water temps can be quite dangerous for the manatee, and even the shallow water of the Gulf of Mexico can dip to deadly digits for them. So, the constant 72-degree water of the area springs provides these sensitive mammals comfort, safety, and rest. We had seen them from the seat of a kayak a couple of weeks ago on our first foray into the bay, and were more than a little excited at the prospect of viewing them from a new perspective on stand-up boards. As it would happen, however, it was while seated on our boards that we had the sweetest interaction with one of these gentle giants. Instructional signage, mandatory video presentations at all dive and paddle shops, and advice from the volunteer manatee watchers that are present at most local springs during busy season recommend what is referred to as passive observation. Manatees are generally curious creatures and are more likely to approach and interact with you if you simply park yourself on or just under the water near the surface and relax. Most of the springs and resting areas are roped off to offer the sea cows a safe haven from unwelcome molestation and a choice as to whether or not they want to interact with, at peak times, the hundreds of human visitors present in and around the water to view the yearly spectacle. So when we saw the boundary to one of the small inlets was unoccupied, we decided to paddle over, have a seat on our boards, and just see what might happen. And what did happen felt nothing short of magical. We had noticed earlier in the day that there was a rather interactive little fellow, probably a juvenile, hanging out at the opening to Jurassic Spring. By little, I mean somewhere in the 500 to 700 pound range. Adults typically average between 8 and 1,200 pounds. Sure enough, within minutes of floating at the mouth of the inlet, curiosity got the better of the young male, and he approached my board, first gently nosing it, then running his back along the underside. But he wasn't satisfied, and circled back around and swam up alongside. I tentatively extended my fingers into the water and ran them over his relatively small noggin and a little ways down the texture of his algae-covered back. Connecting so closely with a creature in the wild is a rare and thrilling experience, to be sure. And then he did something that I will not soon forget. He began to roll, first onto his side with a wink, and seeming to reach out his flipper, and then onto his back, in the same manner as a pup begging for a rub. I got in a quick one, but with no anchor, his rolling had us drift just far enough that I could no longer reach without going for a swim myself. So what did he do? Came alongside again, and wasted no time in rolling over to beg for more attention. I was grinning, laughing, and tearing up all at the same time. Such a profound experience offered by the smallest action of a simple creature. Such a feeling of joy at the recognition of connection. As I replayed the encounter that afternoon in the cinema of my mind, and even now, I can still feel it in my chest. I wonder what might happen if we all could find the courage to interact with each other like that. Open, willing, trusting. Not that easy, right? Well, as long as we say so. This is Carrie Ray, coming to you from the road.
Here it goes. This is Rocket to the Sun. Now I don't care much for digging. Ain't got no shovel in my hand. Yeah, I've done my share of digging. This ain't no shovel in my hand. So I dig rocks when they're rolling, rocking and rolling till the end. And I spent a little time on the mountain, but I spent more in the hill. Yeah, I spent a little time on the mountain, but I spent more in these hills. If that mountain don't get us, then I never will. Now I've got a harp in my pocket, I've got a guitar on my back. Yeah, I've got a harp in my pocket, I've got this guitar on my back. When these grooves are hot and moving, like a train coming down the track. much fun. No, I don't care much for dying. This living's too much fun. When now, if I should expire, launch me on a rocket to the sun. Come on, Barry.
Are you ready for the Brown County Story Slam? The Brown County Hour is hosting our first ever Story Slam along with the Nashville Arts and Entertainment Commission. We're inviting storytellers from all over to come to the Brown County Inn for the second Thursday of April, May, and June, starting at 7 p.m. Whether you have a story to share or just want to come and hear someone spin a true tale, we invite you to join us to share a great time. The story theme for April 11th is Fish Out of Water, and we encourage our storytellers to be creative and interpret that theme any way they want. Story Slams are an open mic night for anyone with a story to tell. You have 5 minutes to tell your story that is related to the theme of the evening, true as you remember it, and told without any notes. The audience will choose the winning stories of the night, and that story will be featured on the Brown County Radio Hour broadcast. The Old Magnolia House Inn is our prize sponsor for both the April and May events. You can find more information on browncountyhour.com, including complete rules and tips for telling a great story. We'll see you at the Brown County Inn on April 11th.
Now we pause for station identification.
You are listening to the Brown County Hour on volunteer-powered community radio, WFHB, at 100.7 in Brown County, 91.3 and 98.1 in Bloomington, 106.3 in Ellettsville, and online at wfhb.org.
We begin segment 2 with Dr. Laura Godfree and Bethany Drew discussing the Brown County High School's production of Footloose. Herbalist Susan Clearwater shares some information about herpes, and we'll close with Kenan Rainwater's tune, Sleepless Night.
First of all, thank you for having us here today. My name is Dr. Laurie Godfree, and I'm the director of the theater program at the Brown County High School. And every spring we put up a musical, and we're here today to tell you a little bit about it. We are an artist colony, but we don't always get everyone to know what we're doing in time. So I brought Beth Drew here. I'm here to talk to you about our new show this spring, which will open in about 3 weeks, and it's called Footloose, the musical. And most of you would remember Footloose from generations past because of the Kevin Bacon movie, but our students remember it from the remake. They didn't know there was a Kevin Bacon movie, which I find so sad. So I made them all watch it. However, Footloose is coming up. It is a cast of 38. We have a tech crew of about 70, and that does not count the fact that we also have all of our students building the sets with some extra help this year, especially from the Brown County Woodcutters organization that came in and helped us. So we're about to put up our show. We're pulling out all the stops to let people know it's only 1 weekend long, and we want very much to show off what we've worked on.
And my name is Beth Drew, and actually I am the mother of the said Ren McCormick, who is Josiah Drew, so I do have a vested interest in the show. And my goal as publicity manager is to actually sell out the shows. It's going to be amazing. My son personally has told me how amazing it will be, and they feel ready and prepared. And they are excited about it, and we want to share it with Brown County because I believe it's a wonderful family night, and it's something that everybody's going to enjoy.
I think a lot of our students will bring some audience members because every single one of them, if you have a cast and a crew between the classes and the after-school program, that number's not quite a third of the school. Our choir director, our band director are involved. Betsy Cole, who is one of the co-owners of Hobnob, helps build our sets on a regular basis. The woodcutters were involved. We're hoping a lot of people will come and see the show and enjoy how it all came together and also see what our students can do. So you're going to see the entire stage filled with dancers. We're back to the 80s, so we're wearing some clothes you might not have seen for a while, but sometimes I wonder if we're just living through throwbacks on a regular basis. The students get to do the 80s hairstyles and the scrunched down socks and, just the fun stuff we get to do, and some really ugly outfits sometimes, but that's mostly the boys when they're in their dance costumes for the final prom scene. It really is fun to see the whole thing come together at once. We open on April 11th, which is a Thursday. We only have 4 shows, so Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night at 7 p.m., and then we'll close after a Sunday 2 p.m. matinee on the 14th of April. So if we don't hit them, people don't know that we're up. We did Addams Family last year, and word of mouth spread very quickly, and people did come in. But with only one weekend of shows when we normally did 2, our first weekend would normally feed the second weekend, and we don't have that option anymore. So we're really pushing very hard to make sure people know we're up before we're down. It is at Brown County High School Auditorium. Our house box office opens an hour before the show. We will have tickets for sale. Our students will be carrying pre-sale tickets as well, which you can get a discount if you buy the pre-sale tickets early. And you can get them from students within the show, from the tech students involved in the show. A lot of parents will have the tickets. We'll also have tickets at the door the night of the show. But once we open box office, you buy a regular ticket. Brown County Drama Department has won back-to-back state competitions. We have also placed between 1st and 5th anytime that we have competed at state. We're really very proud of our record. That's only been over the last years. We never competed before I came, and this is my 12th year. We are an active department. We like to compete, and we also like to invite them to our own facility, so we almost always run regionals here beforehand also. This is Dr. Laurie Godfree.
This is Beth Drew, and we're going to see you all at the show.
Greetings. This is Susan Clearwater, your local holistic registered nurse and herbalist, bringing you For Your Health, highlighting herbs and the holistic approach. Today's segment is about a nasty little virus no one wants to deal with, and yet it's very common. It's the herpes virus. There's more than 70 types of viruses in the herpes family, but my focus is on the 3 that are the most problematic for people. And they include herpes simplex 1 and 2, which cause cold sores and fever blisters, varicella zoster, causing chickenpox, most often in children that can return later as shingles in adults, and the Epstein-Barr virus, which is implicated in mononucleosis and chronic fatigue syndrome. We get herpes from exposure to infected people, and it's basically a viral infection that attacks the nervous system. It travels along the nerve fibers and causes painful skin eruptions or lesions. Eventually, the lesions heal as the virus retreats along the nerves to lay dormant, deep within the nervous system. The virus remains dormant as long as the immune system is strong enough to keep it under control. In the 30 years I've been a practicing nurse, I've seen so many people suffering with herpes, and every single occurrence happened during times of major stress. So if herpes is a problem for you, dealing with stress is obviously very important. Fortunately, a lot of herbs contain antiviral chemicals that are very effective in treating viral infections in people. St. John's wort and lemon balm are the most potent herbs I use in my formula for treating the herpes virus, and I add 2 other antiviral herbs, hyssop and boneset, in smaller amounts. I harvest these herbs and prepare them as an alcohol tincture, which is one of the most potent forms of herbal medicines. During an active outbreak, large doses of 1 to 2 teaspoons of the liquid are ingested 4 times throughout the day. To prevent reoccurring outbreaks, take 1/2 teaspoon of the tincture once a day. The liquid tincture can also be applied directly onto the lesions, and they greatly reduce pain. These 4 herbs, St. John's wort, lemon balm, hyssop, and boneset, are all safe to use, but St. John's wort can interfere with some prescription drugs, so check into this if it applies to you. Several research studies do validate the ability of these herbs to successfully treat the herpes virus, and I've been using this combination for many years with amazing results in reducing extremely painful lesions and speeding up the healing process. The worst case of shingles I've ever seen was a woman in her 30s who was covered with extremely painful red raised pustules the size of a dime all over her chest, under her arm, and around to her shoulder blades. I suggested that she take 1 teaspoon of my herpes tincture with 1/2 teaspoon of echinacea tincture every 2 to 4 hours due to the severity of her outbreak. She also applied the tincture to her lesions on a continual basis. She was compliant, and when I saw her 24 hours later, her lesions had shrunk to the size of pimples. She reported feeling much better and had a significant reduction in her excruciating pain about 5 hours after the initial dose and application of the tincture. We were both really amazed by the results. I've also seen several people with debilitating cases of mononucleosis. They used my herpes combination and all reported feeling much better, with a noticeable increase in their energy and a quick recovery back to their normal activities. A couple of other herbs you can use to treat the herpes virus are echinacea, licorice, and garlic. They're all strong antivirals. And many people find that taking 1 to 2 grams of lysine on a daily basis helps prevent and treat herpes. Lysine is an amino acid or protein. Also, avoid foods that contain a lot of the amino acid arginine because it feeds and encourages the herpes virus to multiply. Foods that have higher amounts of this arginine include peanut butter, carob, lentils, buckwheat, nuts, and the favorite, chocolate. So if this nasty herpes virus is a problem for you or someone you know, try these suggestions, which are safe and usually quite beneficial. If you'd like to learn more about these herbs or how to make your own tinctures, please refer to my book, The Art of Herbal Healing, A Guide to Health and Wholeness, available at greenturtlebotanicals.com. You'll find pictures of the herbs and more detailed information on using them. This is Susan Clearwater, and until next time, here's to your health.
This was called Sleepless Night.
Waiting for Jesus to come. Mind it breaks, for heaven's sake, what have I done? Time is lost now, my mother's tossing to the wind. Nothing left now, the bitter taste from my sin. might be a lifetime until I see the sun. But time is lost now, all my thoughts toss into the wind. Nothing left now for the bitter taste from my sin. My fears roll into one. With every breath I'm praying for sleep to come. When dawn breaks all along the eastern hills, and my soul they kill. Time is lost now, all my fears toss into the wind. Nothing left now but the bitter taste that was my sin.
Now we pause for station identification.
You are listening to the Brown County Hour on volunteer-powered community radio, WFHB, at 100.7 in Brown County, 91.3 and 98.1 in Bloomington, 106.3 in Ellettsville, and online at wfhb.org.
In our final segment, Jim Eagleman shares his perspective on the Brown County mountain lion. Dave Seastrom has a few words to say about why we should donate to WFHB, and we'll close the show with Kenan Rainwater's tune, Sunnin'.
Mountain lions in Brown County? What? Are we that wild? Is this a joke? Were the interviews in the local paper recently a hoax? No, it's all true and can be believed until we actually have authenticated proof, a well-defined print, or better yet, an unaltered, genuine photo. We will continue to talk about it, wonder and guess, suspect and ponder the actual occurrence of cougars, pumas, catamounts, yes, the mountain lion in Brown County. Could they occur here? Absolutely. Several years ago, locals may recall a sighting of a mountain lion at the Crane Naval Surface Warfare Center in southern Indiana. Employees arriving one early winter morning saw the cat disappear across a small hill on the entry road into the compound. Interviews of the drivers made the account that what they saw was not a deer, the long diagnostic tail very apparent, and at full-on running gait, that lumbering image that we've all seen on TV. The Brown County Democrat ran the bleep on the front page, and like this past issue, asked anyone in the area to keep their eyes peeled and to report any sightings, footprints, calls, or disturbances. I got a call at the Nature Center soon following this sighting and was asked could they now occur in Brown County, where there were sufficient travel lanes or enough woodlands between Crane and here, tracts of private and public lands, to allow one or several to arrive. A quick glance on my office wall to view a map of the nearby Hoosier National Forest and surrounding parcels indicated that yes, there were plenty of opportunities. The Hoosier butts up against the southern border of Brown County State Park, as you may know, and there is just about as much of the Hoosier land in Brown County as there is parkland, 16,000 acres each. Add these two units together, and we have a large bit of real estate that is still considered by many to be wild, certainly undeveloped, and it's rural land, that part of Indiana that many consider uninhabited enough that it's just to their liking. And that's why they live there, and that's just fine with the rest of us who also cherish quiet, undisturbed places, free of city noise, nosy neighbors, and plenty of space. Well, I've just described the mountain lion habitat. Large open spaces with little or no dwellings, and if there are houses, farms, or homesteads nearby, they can still act as habitat for this usually quiet and solitary animal. In the early 1990s, during a time the Deer Study Committee was meeting to consider how to handle oversized deer herds in Brown County State Park, the committee listened to and consulted wolf specialists and cat specialists, this one from the Smoky Mountains National Park, and the wolf biologist from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The Deer Study Committee wanted to hear from these two biologists so that accurate and informed decisions could be made. Along with fencing and sharpshooters and removal or transporting deer, the committee considered 8 options total, some far-fetched, like birth control or sterilization, and some more realistic. But both biologists said at the onset of their presentation that releasing either wolves or mountain lions in Brown County State Park would not address the problem of too many deer. These two predators, while labeled deer specialists in biology books, don't always concentrate on taking deer. If livestock, pet animals, and even poultry is in the area, they were known as opportunists and would prey upon these easy targets. The wolf biologist from the Smokies could speak from his experience of several years trying to get the red wolf, an original predator in those expansive mountains, to be accepted, not by the animals on which it would prey, but by the skeptic public that did not like the whole idea of wolves once again running free and amongst their private property. Quote, "It's a near impossibility with those neighbors to the Smoky Mountains National Park who fear wolves coming across their borders. It wouldn't work," he was quoted as saying. He understood this and wanted us on the committee to know it too. While the neighbors somewhat liked the idea of wild wolves as part of the national park experience, a questionnaire circulated prior to the project, they didn't want them in their backyard. NIMBY. Have you heard this? Not in my backyard. It still is the mantra of many experimental projects where the public has the final and most important say in the matter. The cat biologist basically said the same thing. They will not solely take deer. He explained his work tracking and studying a pair of cats in eastern Colorado, a large area, and was able to determine over the course of several years that a pair of cats during their entire lifetime can cover as much as 500 square miles. He noted Brown County State Park's 16,000 acres came to about 25 square miles, and that was enough for him to end his talk. He thanked us for the plane ride, and he wished us well handling our deer problem. 500 square miles for a pair of cats. That statement has stayed with me over the years, and ever since I've marveled at how these secretive and normally shy felines can do their thing, cover large areas, prey upon enough deer, fawns, pigs, old and weak coyotes, foxes, squirrels, rabbits, opossums, and yes, an occasional sheep, goat, calf, or colt to remain undetected, almost like a shadow in the night, with as few sightings by us as there are. Excited at the prospect of mountain lions in Brown County? Sure, and I suspect many of my listeners are too. Not that I want to scare horse and livestock owners, create fear with moms and seniors who live alone, or consider wild critters more important than people, no. But you have to admire a predator that, despite all odds, responds to a forever-changing landscape that interrupts travel and hunting, highways, more development into rural areas, and people with a shotgun at the ready. The lion certainly gets headlines when an unfortunate runner in the mountains of Colorado is attacked, when we hear a family farm was surprised one morning as a lion carried off a small calf, or when we hear one may approach our private homestead. Mountain lions will continue making the news. Stay tuned and tell me what you think. Contact me, Jim Eagleman, for Nature Ramblings, WFHB FM Radio, the Brown County Hour. Thanks for listening.
We're doing something a little different for this episode. Raising money for the station during the fund drive is essential, and we're always glad to do our part. To aid in this effort, this month there will be 2 episodes of the Brown County Hour. The first show will be a little shorter version that will air the first Sunday and the following Wednesday during the fund drive. This modification allows our crew members to pitch for the station 3 times during each show. The full version of the show will air at our regular time on the first Sunday of April and the following Wednesday. WFHB is celebrating 26 years on the air. This is a remarkable achievement, and it wouldn't have happened without the support of you, our listeners. In the future, as technology and listening preferences change, we want to be in the forefront of new and better ways to present the content of WFHB to our audience. In other words, we seek to improve WFHB and not just pay our bills. This is an ambitious undertaking, and the only way it can happen is with your continued support. In the meantime, we still have to keep the lights on and provide the necessary capital to fund the salaries of our underpaid staff. This is where you come in, and the best way to help us out is to become a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution is automatically withdrawn from your account at the amount you set. This generous act gives the station much-needed cash flow throughout the year and helps us meet our expenses in between the fund drives. If you're listening to my voice during Fund Drive, you are already a loyal listener to this station and you know what you love about the programming on WFHB. But for those of you who might be a new listener, let me share a few of my own thoughts about why I love and appreciate this radio station. WFHB is non-commercial. This not only means you won't hear any advertising, it means we're not in it for the money. The tiny paid staff and the 200 volunteers that bring this programming to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, do this because we believe in the mission and we love what we do. The award-winning citizen journalism is unique in South Central Indiana. The news department produces 28 news and public information programs. 20 of them are produced in-house, and between 16 to 18 news-related programs are aired every week. We have the only Spanish-language programming in the area, and we share a mix of music programs that are run by the DJs who make their own musical choices. There is no playlist coming from Central Command. Because of this, the range of music genres are far and wide, and each DJ brings their own musical taste to the mix. We also support and provide a platform for local music. 4 times a year, WFHB produces a live radio show, The Firehouse Follies. Based on the old-time radio format, it includes musical guest performers, a house band, and a radio acting troupe. The Brown County Hour falls under the umbrella of news and entertainment, and we're proud to be a member of the team. Our show is unique because we have our own studio in the History Center located in Nashville, Indiana. This came about when a group of Brown County folks wanted to produce a radio show that would become the voice of Brown County. Our show exemplifies what volunteer-powered community radio is all about. WFHB applied for and received a license for a translator that would boost the signal into neighboring Brown County. With the help of a few benefactors and the support of the community, 100.7 FM came into being. A year later, Episode 1 of the Brown County Hour was aired on July 24th, 2010. During our tenure, we had to find a new location for our studio, and we held a fundraiser at the Brown County Inn to provide much-needed equipment updates and materials for the sound booth. The community shared their support, and we moved into our new studio at the History Center a few months later. All of this is about partnership between the listeners and WFHB. Friends, we're asking for your support. The money we're raising will help us continue the program you love and enjoy. We provide the music you listen to in your car or out in your garden while you're pulling weeds. And we share news about our community honestly and without bias. If you are hearing this during the fund drive, please call in and make a generous donation. If you're hearing this in April, the same thing goes. The fund drive isn't the only time you can donate to the station. Thank you for your support. This is Dave Seastrom. See you next time.
All right, this is called Sunnin'. Keep this job, man, keep your money. Ain't got nothing against anybody except for wasting my time. Just 'cause I'm broke, it don't mean I'm running. I'm like a frog on a rock, just a sunning, waiting on a meal to pass by. This job, man, keep your money. Ain't got nothing against anybody except for wasting my time. Might be useless as tits on a hog and funny looking like a three-legged dog, but I'm getting by. I like living right and being free. All anyone can say for me. So keep this job, man, keep your money. Ain't got nothing against anybody that's ever wasting my time. Well, I've been young and I've had trouble. Bad mistakes I've made double, but God's on my side. Like living right and being free. It's all anyone can say for me. Come on, Barry. Nothing against anybody except for wasting my time. Just I'm scared, it don't mean I'm running. I'm like a frog on a rock, just sunning, waiting on a meal to pass by. I like living right and being free. It's all anyone can say for me. So keep this job, man, keep your money. Ain't got nothing against anybody that's ever wasted my time. Just 'cause I'm scared, it don't mean I'm running. I'm like a frog on a rock, just a sunning, waiting on a meal to pass by. I like living right and being free. It's all anyone can say for me. Come on.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 85 of the Brown County Hour, recorded in our studio at the History Center here in downtown Nashville, and brought to you the first Sunday of every month at 9 a.m. and the following Wednesday at 6 p.m. And be sure to look for us on iTunes and Stitcher.
The Brown County Hour is brought to you by a diverse group of folks who believe now more than ever the world is for everyone.
This show was produced by
Chuck Wills,
Pam Rader,
Rick Fettig,
Vera Grubbs,
Jim Lemon,
and Dave Seastrom. We would also like to thank Slats Klug for our theme music. You have been listening to the Brown County Hour,
coming to you from deep in the woods of Brown County, Indiana.
celebrating the arts, culture, and nature that make this such a unique community.
Visit us online at browncountyhour.com.
The Brown County Hour is a production of WFHB.
Volunteer-powered, listener-supported community radio for South Central Indiana.
Take me back to my old Brown County home.